Hey everyone, before we dive into today's story, I just want to say thank you for being here. I'm working toward my first 1,000 subscribers, and honestly, every single like and subscription means the world to me. It tells me that these stories matter to you, that real, honest storytelling about life's messiest moments is something you want more of. If you end up connecting with this story, I'd be so grateful if you'd hit that like button and subscribe. It costs you nothing, but it encourages me to keep creating content that speaks to real human experiences. Alright, let's get into it. My hand was shaking as I held the envelope. Not from nerves about presenting the award. I'd done that dozens of times in my 15-year career in marketing. No, my hand was shaking because 3 hours earlier, I'd made a decision that would change everything. My name is Rachel Chen, and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Horizon Digital. Tonight was the Advertising Excellence Awards, the biggest night in our industry. I was presenting the Innovator of the Year award. My husband, David, was in the audience somewhere. At least, I thought he was. Let me back up 6 months. David and I had been married for 12 years. Good years, I thought. We'd met at a conference, he was in finance, I was climbing the ladder in marketing. We were the power couple everyone envied. No kids yet, but we'd always said we were waiting for the right time. Our careers were demanding. We understood each other's long hours, late nights, business trips. Or at least, I understood his. The first sign was subtle. David started going to the gym at odd hours. 5:30 in the morning, sometimes 10 at night. Got to stay healthy, he'd say, kissing my forehead. We're not getting any younger. He wasn't wrong. We were both pushing 40. Then came the phone calls he'd taken another room. The texts that made him smile in ways I hadn't seen in years. The weekend team-building retreat his company suddenly needed in Miami. I'm not stupid. I'm a CMO. I analyze patterns for a living. I read consumer behavior, predict trends, understand psychology. But when it's your own life, you don't want to see the data clearly. The breaking point came on a Tuesday. I came home early. A pitch meeting had been cancelled. I found his laptop open on the kitchen counter, still logged in. I'd never snooped before. Never felt the need to. But something made me look at the screen. An email chain with someone named Amber. Not work emails. Plans for dinner. Inside jokes. A message that said, "Can't wait until you leave her. Just a few more months and we can stop hiding." I sat down on the kitchen floor. Just sat there, staring at those words until they blurred. He'd been planning his exit. 4 months. While I was planning our anniversary trip to Italy. I didn't confront him that day. I should have. Instead, I did what I do best. I strategized. Over the next 3 weeks, I became someone I didn't recognize. I hired a private investigator named Marcus Green. I felt ridiculous doing it, like I was in a bad movie, but Marcus was professional and kind. He didn't judge. He just did his job. The report came back within a week. Amber Torres, 29, worked in David's office as a junior analyst. They'd been seeing each other for 7 months. Dinners at restaurants across town where no one we knew would see them. A weekend in the Hamptons when David told me he was at a conference. Hotel rooms charged to a credit card I didn't know he had. 7 months. While I was working late to secure the promotion that would finally make us financially comfortable enough to start a family. While I was planning surprises for his birthday. While I was being a wife. Marcus's report included photos. David and Amber holding hands on a beach. David and Amber kissing in a parking garage. David looking at her the way he used to look at me, before work and routine, and 12 years had smoothed the edges off everything. I cried. Then I got angry. Then I got cold. The coldness was useful. I started paying attention to David's calendar, the one he thought I couldn't access but I'd had the password to for years. He just never changed it after syncing our accounts 5 years ago. That's when I saw it, the Advertising Excellence Awards. December 14th, 7 p.m. David had it marked in his calendar. Dinner with A. Not Rachel's awards ceremony. Not support Rachel. Just dinner with A. He'd forgotten. Or he'd never bothered to remember. I'd mentioned the ceremony a dozen times. I was presenting one of the biggest awards of the night. This was a huge moment in my career. And he'd made plans with her. Something crystallized in my mind. A plan. It was risky. It was petty. It was probably going to blow up my life in spectacular fashion. But I was tired of being the person things happened to. I wanted to be the person who made things happen. I called Marcus Green. I need a favor, I said. How would you feel about attending an award ceremony? The week before the ceremony, I approached David casually over breakfast. "You're still coming to the awards next Friday, right?" He looked up from his phone, confused. "What awards?" My stomach dropped, even though I'd expected this. "The Advertising Excellence Awards. I'm presenting the Innovator of the Year award. I told you about this months ago." "Oh." He had the decency to look slightly uncomfortable. "Rachel, I'm sorry. I completely forgot. I have a work thing. Important client dinner. I can't miss it." "A work thing," I repeated. "Yeah. Last minute. You know how it is." He reached across the table, squeezed my hand. "You'll be great. You don't need me there." I smiled. "You're right. I don't need you there." He looked relieved, kissed my forehead like I was a child he'd successfully placated. "That's my girl." I wasn't his girl. Not anymore. That afternoon, I made 3 phone calls. First, to my contact at the Advertising Excellence Committee. "I need to add someone to the seating chart. David Chen, my husband. He'll be bringing a guest." She was confused. "But you already have a seat reserved." "His coming separately. Work commitment running late. Can you seat him near the back? He won't want to make a scene coming in after it starts." Second call was to Marcus Green. "I need you to do something that sounds insane." Third call was to my lawyer. The awards ceremony was held at the Grand Lexington Hotel, a glittering ballroom with crystal chandeliers and too many cameras. I wore a red dress I'd bought specifically for this night, the kind of red that demands attention. I'd had my hair and makeup done professionally. I looked powerful. I felt powerful. I was also terrified. Marcus had confirmed everything that afternoon. David had made reservations at Novella, an upscale restaurant 2 blocks away. Same time as the awards. Table for 2. But Marcus had also made a call to David's office, posing as the awards committee. "Mr. Chen? This is James from the Advertising Excellence Awards. We're calling to confirm your attendance tonight as Rachel Chen's guest. We have you seated at table 4, near the stage. We'll need you to arrive by 6:30 for photos." There was a long pause on the recording Marcus played for me. Then David's voice. What? I'm sorry, what is this?" "The awards ceremony? Your wife is presenting tonight? We have you listed as her +1. Is there a problem?" Another pause. "No. No problem. Table 4. Got it." He'd sounded panicked. Marcus grinned when he played me the recording. He's going to show up. Men like him always do. They can't stand the idea of people talking. He'll come, and he'll bring her, because he's convinced himself you don't know and he can manage the situation. "And if I'm wrong?" I asked. "Then you present an award and go home. Nothing lost. Everything to lose," I thought. But I didn't say it. I arrived at 6:15. Cameras flashed. Industry colleagues congratulated me on the promotion I'd received last month. Everyone was asking about David. "He's running late," I said smoothly. "Work emergency. You know how it is." At 6:45, I was backstage reviewing my presentation notes when my phone buzzed. A text from Marcus, who was stationed near the entrance. "They are here. Together. He looks like he's going to be sick." My heart hammered. This was real. This was happening. She's wearing a black dress. Looks expensive. He keeps whispering to her. She's smiling. I took a breath. Another. I thought about backing out. I could just present the award, ignore them, deal with this privately like a normal person. But I wasn't feeling normal. I was feeling like someone who'd been lied to for 7 months. Someone whose husband had forgotten the biggest night of her career because he was too busy with his mistress. I texted back, "Which table are they at?" "Table 12. Near the back." He keeps looking around. "Not table 4. He'd avoided the seat near me. Of course he had. Another text from Marcus. "Are you sure about this?" I typed back, "Yes." Then I deleted it and typed, "No. But we're doing it anyway." The lights dimmed. The ceremony began. I sat at table 1 with the other presenters and committee members. I could feel David's presence in the room like static electricity. I didn't look back. Didn't give him the satisfaction. The first few awards were presented. A commercial campaign. A digital innovation. A rebranding success. Standard applause. Standard speeches. Then came my category, Innovator of the Year. I walked on stage to applause.
The spotlight was blinding.
I couldn't see the audience clearly, which was probably good.
My hands steadied as I held the envelope. "Good evening," I said.
My voice carried through the ballroom, strong and clear. "I'm Rachel Chen, CMO of Horizon Digital, and I'm honored to present the Innovator of the Year award."
I went through the speech I'd prepared.
Talked about innovation, creativity, pushing boundaries. The words came automatically. Meanwhile, my mind was racing through what came next. "But before I announce the winner," I said, deviating from the script, "I want to take a moment to talk about something personal."
I could feel the room's attention sharpen. This wasn't normal. People were leaning forward.
"Marriage," I said,
"is about partnership, trust, showing up for each other when it matters."
My husband was supposed to be here tonight, but he had a work commitment he couldn't miss. Sympathetic murmurs from the audience.
I saw some people nodding.
"Actually," I continued, my voice still steady, "that's not true."
The room went silent. "My husband is here tonight."
"David Chen, David, could you stand up please?" I couldn't see his face clearly from the stage, but I could see movement near table 12. A figure standing slowly, reluctantly. "David's here with someone very important to him. Someone he's been spending a lot of time with over the past 7 months. Would you like to introduce her, David? Publicly? Since you've introduced her to so many people privately." The silence in the ballroom was suffocating. I heard someone gasp. Camera operators were swiveling, trying to find David in the crowd. "No." I continued. "That's okay. I'll do it. Everyone, I'd like you to meet Amber Torres. Amber works with David. She's 29 years old. And according to the emails I found, she's the woman my husband is planning to leave me for. Please, both of you, stand up. Let everyone see the happy couple."
The room erupted.
Not in applause, in shocked whispers, gasps, a few nervous laughs.
Camera phones were coming out.
This was going to be everywhere by morning. "Rachel," David's voice carried from the back of the room, panicked. "I'm not finished," I said, my voice cutting through the chaos. "You see, when I found out about the affair, I had a choice. I could confront David privately,
file for divorce quietly,
let him preserve his reputation while destroying mine with whatever story he chose to tell. I opened the envelope in my hands.
Or I could show up.
I could stand here, in front of everyone who matters in our industry, and tell the truth.
Because the truth is, I don't need a partner who can't show up for me. I don't need a marriage built on lies.
And I don't need to protect the reputation of a man who couldn't even remember that tonight mattered to me."
I pulled a card from the envelope.
The Innovator of the Year award goes to Jennifer Walters for her groundbreaking work in sustainable brand development. Jennifer came up on stage, stunned. The applause was scattered, confused. Everyone was still processing what had just happened. I handed her the award, hugged her, and walked off stage. Backstage was chaos. The ceremony coordinator was having a panic attack. My boss was on his phone, probably fielding calls from the board.
Marcus appeared at my elbow.
"You okay?" he asked quietly.
"I have no idea," I said honestly. My phone was exploding with texts. Some supportive. Some horrified. Some from journalists asking for comment. I ignored all of them except one.
From my lawyer.
Saw it live streamed. "Come to my office tomorrow.
We'll file papers." That was either the bravest or stupidest thing I've ever seen. Either way, you're not going back to him now.
She wasn't wrong.
David tried to find me after, but security kept him away, at my request. I prepared for that too. I left through the kitchen exit, got in a car Marcus had waiting, and went home.
To the home I'd shared with David.
I packed methodically. Clothes, toiletries, my grandmother's jewelry, the photo albums from before David. I took my laptop, my files, evidence of everything I'd need. I left my wedding ring on the kitchen counter, right where I'd seen that first email.
Then I left. The video went viral. Of course it did.
CMO exposes husband's affair during awards speech was picked up by every industry publication, then mainstream media. I became a meme.
A cautionary tale.
A hero to some, a villain to others. I lost some things. A few friendships, people who thought I should have handled it privately. Some professional connections who were uncomfortable with the drama. David's family, obviously, though they never liked me anyway.
But I gained more. My company stood by me.
The publicity was actually good for business. Horizon Digital became known as a place that valued authenticity and loyalty. We picked up 3 major clients who specifically cited my courage under pressure as a reason they wanted to work with us.
The divorce was finalized last month.
David tried to fight it, tried to claim I'd humiliated him, damaged his career.
My lawyer destroyed those arguments. He'd been the one having the affair. He'd been the one lying.
The fact that I'd exposed it publicly didn't change who'd actually done wrong.
He lost his job 2 months after the ceremony.
Not because of me, because it turned out he'd been falsifying expense reports to fund his time with Amber. When the company investigated after the public scandal, they found everything. He's working at a smaller firm now, for half his previous salary. Amber left him 3 weeks after the story broke. Apparently being famous as the Mistress wasn't the romantic adventure she'd imagined.
As for me,
I'm sitting in my new apartment, smaller than the house I shared with David but entirely mine.
I'm sleeping better than I have in years.
My career is flourishing. I've been asked to speak at conferences about leadership, authenticity, and having difficult conversations. And yes, I'm dating.
Nothing serious yet. I'm not in a rush.
I'm learning what it feels like to be chosen, consistently, by someone who actually sees me. Last week, I got a message from a woman named Jennifer, not the Jennifer who won the award, a different Jennifer.
She'd seen the video.
Her husband had been cheating too. She'd felt trapped, scared to blow up her life.
You showed me it was possible to stand up, she wrote. To choose yourself.
I filed for divorce today.
Thank you. I cried when I read it. Not sad tears.
Grateful tears. Was what I did at the ceremony the right thing?
I don't know. It was messy. It was public. It was imperfect. But it was honest.
And after years of living in David's carefully constructed lie, honesty felt like breathing again.
People still ask me if I regret it. The speech.
The public confrontation.
The way I burned everything down. The answer is complicated. I regret that my marriage ended.
I regret that I didn't see the signs sooner. I regret the pain, mine, and yes, even some of David's, because I'm not cruel enough to enjoy another person's suffering entirely.
But do I regret standing on that stage and telling the truth? No.
Because here's what I learned that night. The worst betrayal wasn't David's affair. It was my own willingness to shrink myself, to make excuses, to pretend everything was fine when it wasn't. The real Innovator of the Year award should have gone to me, for innovating a new version of myself. One who doesn't wait for permission to take up space. One who doesn't protect people who won't protect her. One who understands that sometimes, burning it all down is the only way to clear space for something better to grow. I'm not the same Rachel Chen who walked into that ballroom 6 months ago. That Rachel was afraid of what people would think.
Afraid of being alone.
Afraid of starting over at 40. This Rachel knows that being alone is better than being with someone who makes you feel invisible. This Rachel knows that starting over isn't failure, it's bravery. This Rachel knows that the opinions of people who value propriety over honesty aren't opinions worth keeping.
My therapist says I'm still processing. Still healing. She's probably right. Some days are harder than others.
Some days I miss the comfort of routine, even if that routine was built on lies. But most days I wake up in my small apartment, make coffee in my quiet kitchen, and feel something I haven't felt in years.
Free. That's the real award. The one I gave myself. The one no one can take away.
And it was worth everything it cost. If you're watching this and you're in a situation where you feel trapped, where you're being lied to, where you're making yourself smaller to keep someone else comfortable, I want you to know something. You deserve better.
You deserve to be chosen. You deserve honesty. And you're strong enough to choose yourself. It won't be easy. It won't be clean. But it will be real.
And real is where healing begins. Thank you so much for staying with me through this entire story. I know it was heavy. I know it was real, and I appreciate you being here for all of it. If this story resonated with you, if you felt something, if it made you think, or if you just appreciate honest storytelling without the usual filters, please take a second to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I'm working toward 1,000 subscribers, and I can't get there without you. Every like, every subscription, every comment you leave, it all encourages me to keep doing this, to keep sharing these kinds of stories that explore the complicated, messy, beautiful reality of being human.
Drop a comment and let me know what you thought.
What would you have done in Rachel's situation? Have you ever had to make a choice between staying quiet and speaking your truth?
I'd love to hear from you.
And if you know someone who needs to hear a story about choosing yourself, about finding courage when everything falls apart, Share this with them.
Thank you again. I'll see you in the next story.